It all started with a humiliating scene that no wife, no mother, no woman should ever have to endure. On a quiet Tuesday afternoon, in a small-town coffee shop where the smell of roasted beans usually meant comfort, dignity was stripped away in front of strangers. Mary Kennedy, wife of businessman and philanthropist John Kennedy, walked in with a smile that had no idea what storm awaited her. She had gone in just to enjoy a cup of coffee, to rest from her errands, and maybe read a book. But instead of receiving a warm welcome, she was met with sharp words and an unshakable glare from the manager, a man who prided himself on his so-called progressive stance, quick to label and judge anyone he believed carried values different from his own. Within minutes, Mary was asked to leave. No reason that made sense. No justification that held weight. Just a humiliating shove out the door with the excuse that people like her were not welcome. Witnesses described the moment with shock. A mother with quiet grace was being pushed out of her public space not because of what she did, but because of who she was married to. It wasn't about coffee. It was about pride. And that sting of rejection cut deeper than anyone watching could have imagined. Mary walked back to her car with tears in her eyes, trying to hold herself together, not wanting her children later to see that she had been broken. But what happened the next day changed everything. When word of the humiliation reached John Kennedy, he didn't respond with rage. He didn't call lawyers. He didn't waste breath on arguments. Instead, he made a statement so loud, so elegant, that no one in the town would forget it. The following morning, a polished Rolls-Royce Phantom, gleaming under the autumn sun, slowly pulled into the parking lot of that same coffee shop. People paused, phones came out, whispers rippled through the air. Out stepped John Kennedy himself, dignified, calm, wearing a suit that spoke not of arrogance, but of quiet power. He walked straight through the front doors of the cafe, told the copyright. The very same manager who had kicked his wife out was now paled, his confidence straining as fast as his smirk had appeared the day before. John didn't raise his voice. He didn't insult or shame. He simply asked, "Is this how you treat women in your establishment? Is this how you think respect is earned?" His words were steady, piercing, like a father scolding a child who had crossed the line. For a moment, the room fell into silence. Customers, staff, even strangers who had no idea what had happened the day before, now watched as one man reclaimed his wife's dignity in the most powerful way imaginable, with presence, not anger. John then motioned for Mary, who had been waiting quietly in the car, to join him. She walked in, head held higher this time, and the same customers who had watched her thrown out the day before now stood to applaud her. The cafe tilde copyright was no longer the manager's stage, it was hers. And then, with remarkable composure, John placed a generous tip not in the hands of the manager, but directly into the tip jar for the hard-working staff who had nothing to do with the injustice. He turned and said to them, "Respect is free. Kindness costs nothing. Don't ever let anyone convince you otherwise." The Rolls-Royce pulled away slowly, leaving behind not just the image of wealth, but a message about integrity. The story spread like wildfire. Social media lit up with posts, videos, and testimonies. Some criticized the manager. Others praised the Kennedys for their grace. But what stood out most wasn't the car or the confrontation. It was the reminder that power isn't about money, and respect isn't about politics. It's about how we treat each other, especially when no one's watching. Mary later shared in a heartfelt message, "I felt small that day, but John reminded me that my worth is not for anyone else to define." Dignity is something we must protect, even in the smallest of places. And in that, the Kennedys left an example for everyone, that no matter how divided the world becomes, true strength doesn't come from shouting louder, and comes from standing taller, with grace, with love, with unshakable dignity. So the next time you see someone being cast aside, remember this story. Remember that a Rolls-Royce may have made a statement, but it was the quiet strength of a husband defending his wife's honor that left the world inspired. Because in the end, respect is not earned through power or politics. Respect is earned through humanity.